Hello and thank you for watching. Okay, so this is for those who want and who can do more. You have options in the description below. Pick the one that fits you best. May I always suggest the membership program because it is the most affordable way to support the channel without thinking so hard. But understand that by you interacting with the video, pressing like, subscribing if you haven't done so, pushes my algorithm forward and helps me out a ton as well. So don't minimize the essence of viewership. Thank you again. I think by now a lot of us are aware of the crazy incident that happened in Jacksonville, Florida. It is something that is obviously a sore subject, but without wasting any more time, let's just go straight into it. If you are new here, I am Alistair Nzekio, and this is just my point of view. Let's go. Okay, so for those who don't know what is going on, let's just go down memory lane very quickly.
A hate crime investigation is underway in Jacksonville, Florida, after a gunman killed 3 black people at a Dollar General. Investigators say the white gunman showed up to the store with a swastika-covered assault rifle on Saturday after trying to get onto the campus of a historically black college. Detectives say the 21-year-old's father found a suicide note along with racist writings. The victims have all been identified as 52-year-old Angela Carr, 19-year-old A.J. Legary, and 29-year-old Gerald Gallion. Jacksonville sheriff says the gunman was fixated on the Dollar General where the deadly shooting happened.
There's no question about it. He hated blacks, and I think he hated just about everyone that wasn't white. He made that very clear.
The attack in Florida is the latest in a number of shootings in recent years where a gunman has targeted black people. That includes the mass shooting at a supermarket in Buffalo, New York last year. And in 2015, a gunman murdered 9 people inside a historically black church in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, there you have it. So it's a young man who had access to a gun and decided to do bad things with that gun. Now, in the video, you may have missed it, but I'll go into editing and show you the picture of it. But that blurred out situation, for what I was able to gather, that's the N-word, by the way. So, yeah, he really did not like anybody of my complexion. But listen, there's a few bits and pieces that I'm going to tie together and create a grosso modo painting of his story. Let's just go to the next segment. So who is Ryan Christopher Palmiter? One piece of significant fact is that he left a manifesto before he did the action. The difference between a manifesto and a suicide note is very simple. The suicide note explains someone that is troubled. Listen, that is significant. A manifesto explains someone with a conviction. And that's the main difference between the two. So he left the manifesto for his parents to see. That's one dot. Let's pay attention to that. I'll come back to that. So who is he? Who is he? Ryan Christopher left the house at 11:40 a.m. on Saturday. He arrives in his gray Honda Element at the campus of Edward Waters University, which is a HBCU. An hour later, he gets turned away by a security guard when he refused to identify himself. His initial, and this is what the manifesto is important, manifesto is conviction. His initial plan was to kill black students. His initial plan was to be a mass murderer. Okay? In his mind, in his manifesto, he was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to kill a lot of black people. What kind of people I'm going to kill? The young ones, the ones with future, with brightness, the ones with the future. Second dot, pay attention to that dot. So he returned to his car and left the campus. Okay. Just before the massacre that happened at the Dollar General branch, he texted his father and told his dad to look at his personal computer, on which the suspect's parents duly found several manifestos. Intended to explain his actions, which Sheriff Waters, which we'll talk about later on, characterized as the diary of a madman. Yeah. Correct. And that's the difference between a manifesto and a suicide note. Palmiter's father had called the sheriff's office at around 2 p.m. to report the manifestos, but by then it was already too late. Okay? Now, let's pause here for a second. So, 11:40, he tries to go to HBCU. He gets turned around. He arrives then at the dollar store, calls his father, go check the computer, read the manifesto. The father reads the computer, but calls at 2 p.m., but it was way too late. I said that to you because the time frame of events is to kind of showcase to you how it only takes one instant to change your life. It takes a single moment in time for everything you know to be completely different. You don't need a warning. You don't need 2 minutes. You don't need 5 minutes. It just takes. And then that's it. Because he wore tactical gear, purchased a gun. He was ready to commit mass murder. And that whole idea that he was ready to die, no. That was a second thought. That was an afterthought. If he could, he would have stayed alive and continued to be a murderer. The simple fact of him being gunned down and taking his life, because he was like, I'm not being taken alive. But given the opportunity, yeah, he would have continued. That's not the mentality of someone who's suicidal. It isn't. It's a madman, but it's not a suicidal madman, right? Because someone that's suicidal will take the option. Someone who's not would not. But according to the sheriff, portions of these manifesto detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. Of course. Plainly put, the shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people. He wanted to kill N-words. That's the one time and only time I'll use that word. I want to be very clear that there is absolutely no evidence that the shooter is part of any large group. We know that he acted completely alone. Yeah. So in 2016, he had a domestic incident involving his brother, James. And the brother is apparently currently serving a jail sentence for armed robbery. Listen, it runs in the family. That's another dot I want you to pay attention to. Okay? However, in 2017, he was held in state custody under Florida's Baker Act, a statute that allows for people to be taken to a receiving facility for involuntary examination for up to 72 hours if they are considered a harm to themselves or others during a mental health crisis. Listen to me right here. That is another dot to pay attention to, because you have someone with something as serious as the Baker Act enacted to even be allowed anywhere near GUNs. That is completely irresponsible. That's completely irresponsible. According to the Daily Beast, Palmiter was a registered Republican. So, don't throw tomatoes yet. I'm not done with my thoughts. Unlike his parents who registered Democrats. So, Mom and Dad, I'm looking at you crazy. And maintain only a very basic account on X. What the Twitter. Sorry. Whose sole post concern is being accepted into Flagler College to study business administration. Now that is an important dot. Because if you look so far at the history of this stupid boy and his stupid mom and dad, listen to me, is you start to understand this is someone with a vendetta who feels entitled and who hasn't been able to have any form of success. I jumped the gun, no pun intended. I'm not even done with my dots. So anyway, keep that dot in there. I'll remind you of all the dots, by the way. If you're a little bit like, how many dots? How many dots? I got you. Please, I have an operating flow. I got you. The gunman responsible for the Jacksonville shooting this past weekend was not a current student of Flaggers College. The college was quick to be like, oh no, honey, he's not one of the students. Please don't hurt our income. Listen, the Daily Beast put that 2 sentences to create a politically charged statement. And I'm here to tell you, that's distracting. That is distracting because when I connect all those dots, it's not about the politics at all for this particular case. No. Okay, there's one final dot to connect. Before the massacre, he was fired from his job. Where do you think he worked? He worked at another Dollar General. You know, serendipity, coincidences, I don't believe in that crap. I think Lady Luck is a very lazy woman. If you happen to bump into her, good for you. If you put together all the dots into a single entity, we can paint a grosso modo image of this man. This is a man who has a very strong online presence. What does he do online? He vents and expresses himself. I will come back to that later. This is a man whose family has had to enact the Baker's Act. Baker's Act is when you are a danger to your family members because you're having something appear not right. But you combine the Baker's Act with the dot of his very sound of mind. It makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if it was a psychosis moment or if it was an anger moment. We don't know. We don't know. We can speculate because nothing came out of the Baker's Act. He just went home. Now, my critical thinking tells me he just had an explosive moment of anger that became really quite scary, and they took it in. But let's go further. This is a guy who has a brother that is a criminal, a violent criminal. This is a guy who is trying or tried to get to school, but he was denied admission. And he devoted an entire Twitter account, X account just to complain about that. That is a significant amount of disgruntledness. Plenty of people don't get into colleges, but who do you blame? Who do you blame? Who do you blame? Who do you blame? Who do you blame when you cannot get into a college? Because it's hard to kind of blame the college because, you know, a college institution, it's an institution. It's kind of hard to pinpoint a single person. Yeah. But you know what he does? If you go back to his online presence, because he was there and enjoying the hate and the negativity towards African Americans, members of the LGBTQ, and Jews. He was enjoying that. That's where he revels. And if you do any sort of research, honey, they do talk bad about us. Oh, yes, they do. So he leaned in more into this hate, blaming everybody else for his mediocrity. But the straw that broke the camel's back was when he was fired from the Dollar General. Oh, no, he went home, and I tell you right now what allegedly he might have said. I'm sitting here. I'm the white person. I deserve. Look at my opportunities being taken away by the black people. And the gays just run around smiling happy all the time. And look at me here all sad. No. How dare they? How dare they be super happy? How dare they? Look, I'm not even trained to be a detective. I'm not even trained to be anything like that. A little bit of critical thinking sprinkled with some intellect, you can figure it out a little bit about someone. Let me give you a perspective. Let me give you a different angle on things. Both of these moments, it was just an instant, and lives were changed forever. Okay, so this is for the new guys. If you got to this point, that means you like me enough. Thank you so much. Just want to remind you to press like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and I hope you like the past content that I've made and the new content I'm going to make. Just keep in mind, I'm mainly into true crime, but I talk about anything and everything, okay? That's it. Thank you.
Surveillance video shows the shooter, without warning, firing 11 rounds into 52-year-old Angela Michelle Carr's Kia, killing her. He then walks into the store, armed with a handgun and an AR-15-style rifle that authorities say he bought legally. The suspect shooting 19-year-old employee A.J. Laguerre Jr., multiple witnesses fleeing out the back of the store, and then later, 29-year-old Gerald Gallion enters. The shooter killing him, missing his girlfriend. And 10 minutes into this heinous act, he sends a text.
The suspect texts his father and says, "Use a screwdriver to get into my room." The father enters the room and finds a last will and testament of the suspect along with a suicide note on his laptop.
ABC News obtaining this distress 911 call his father made to police.
He left in his car a couple of hours ago.
His father stating that his son had been suicidal before and was receiving psychiatric help, but had stopped taking medication.
All right. And does your son go anywhere that you know of? Is there like common places
No.
he goes to?
No, he doesn't go anywhere.
By that time, the rampage was already over, the shooter taking his own life as officers arrived on the scene. Investigators finding writings on the gunman, which they say contained racist and hateful ideology, as well as painted swastikas on one of the firearms.
Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people.
The FBI opening domestic terror and federal hate crime investigations, saying there's also evidence that the suspect harbored anti-LGBTQ+ and anti-Semitic grievances. The latest federal data shows a 12% increase in hate crime incidents.
First of all, I'm not surprised that they put the LGBTQ in there because we are always scapegoated.
I have no doubt in my mind that she's in heaven. She's, resting in peace, but it wasn't her time.
Her mother's life cut short, Ashley Carr has chosen strength and resilience in the face of immeasurable loss. Angela Carr, the first victim killed in Saturday's mass shooting in Jacksonville, Florida.
She died alone. She died alone. And that hurts. And I don't care what we ever been through. It's my mom. My mom is gone. But I have to be strong because I'm the oldest. If I don't, she'll never be remembered. Everything that she stood for and was here for would be in vain.
Once again, a community heartbroken, gathering in the aftermath of gun violence and racism in America.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
After a white gunman waited outside this Dollar General targeting black people. The FBI announcing today that the shooting is being looked at as both a domestic terror and hate crime investigation. Just before the shooting, the suspect, identified as 21-year-old Ryan Palmetter, was spotted outside of Edward Waters University, a historically black Christian college. This video showing the suspect donning a tactical vest and blue latex gloves, students flagging down a security guard.
What's going through your mind?
That there's something wrong. I was not able to see a weapon at that time. However, I did see what appeared to be a tactical vest, a mask, along with a hat covering his head at that time.
Authorities say the suspect then hopped the curb and fled, soon arriving at the Dollar General. Surveillance video capturing the deadly rampage, which lasted 11 minutes. The shooter, without warning, firing 11 rounds into 52-year-old Angela Michelle Carr's Kia, killing her. Then walking inside and killing 19-year-old Anault Joseph A.J. Laguerre Jr., an employee who was shot as he tried to flee.
I just really wanted the world to know who A.J. was. I mean, a low-maintenance guy that just is so genuine and so pure. All he was doing is just at work. He was just at work, man.
Minutes later, 29-year-old Gerald Gallion entered the store with his girlfriend escaping as the gunman chased her through the store and shot at her 4 times. But Gallion was killed, leaving behind a 4-year-old daughter.
He never missed a beat in his daughter's life from birth till his life was taken away. He never missed a beat.
10 minutes into the heinous act, the gunman sends a text.
The suspect texts his father and says, "Use a screwdriver to get into my room." The father enters the room and finds a last will and testament of the suspect along with a suicide note on his laptop.
ABC News obtaining this distressed 911 call his father made to police.
He left in his car a couple of hours ago.
His father stating that his son had been suicidal before and was receiving psychiatric help. By that time, the rampage was already over, the shooter taking his own life as officers closed in. Investigators finding disturbing writings the shooter had with him.
Portions of these manifestos detail the shooter's disgusting ideology of hate. Plainly put, this shooting was racially motivated and he hated black people. He wanted to kill. That's the one and only time I'll use that word.
The gunman was armed with a Glock 20 handgun and an AR-15 style rifle he had painted swastikas on, according to authorities. Both firearms had been purchased legally. The suspect had no criminal record, and a 2017 involuntary psychiatric evaluation was not required to be disclosed.
There was nothing that we could have done to stop him from owning a firearm, a rifle, or a handgun. There was no red flags.
Today, President Biden condemning the mass shooting at a reception to commemorate the 60th anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington for Civil Rights.
White supremacy is the greatest terrorist threat we face in the homeland. The greatest threat. We have to act. We have to act.
And back in Jacksonville tonight, a community shattered, but not broken.
I mean, we've seen the cases come through from Trayvon Martin to George Floyd, but I hope that this really does spark something. Love each other how you want to be loved.
I'm sorry, girl. The change that you were looking for is not going to happen in my lifetime. No, it's too divisive. We live in a time, too much division, and people are too uncomfortable to have the conversation. People rather just look away than look at the problem face on. No. It's not going to happen. Not in my lifetime. Sad, but it's not going to happen. Racism is something that we've all experienced it, yeah. And it is something that in my household growing up, and you guys know my dad, for those who don't know, yeah, he's not a nice person. I was raised by my mom. Even though she had a full life, she raised 5 kids, the best she could. And every day, I'm not even kidding, every day at the table, we ate dinner together. Dad was not around. She said, you know, I just want you guys all to know, you have to be smarter. You have to be literally do above and beyond, because you're good enough is not their good enough. You have to always be a few steps ahead because you need contingencies and you need options. My mom is an African immigrant, self-made. And let me tell you this, you might not accept it. It might be difficult for you to hear it. It is something I still live today at 38 years old. Okay? Full-fledged grown-up. It doesn't stop. It hasn't stopped. All right? Matter of fact, it's a perspective that my husband, who is an Italian, is shocked to even see, because he, as he's white, his perspective of life is very different. And even him, he learned a lot of what it's like to be in my shoes. Yes, incidents like this is very real for a lot of us. Very real for a lot of us. And it hits very different. And when I tell you, as I was doing research for today's video in my operating flow, people are not getting it. People are not getting it. People make fun of this. They laugh at this. They call us overreactive. They call us political. Yes. My mother retired from the United Nations. And I'm telling you a story now, context. I'm telling you a quick story as to how this incident could have been like this in a moment. When my mom retired a few years now, I don't remember what year, really. It was a while ago. I was her date for retirement. And so she worked at the UN, and we went to, the United Nations for her retirement party. And so we get on the bus. We were living in West New York, New Jersey, for those who don't know, great. And so we took the New Jersey Transit bus to go to New York City. That's where the United Nations is. I'm wearing a suit. I was a grown-up by then, 20-something, right? My mom, text message, sorry. My mom wore her traditional African garb, okay? So it was a statement, darling, okay? It was a statement, all right? She walks into the bus, and some man, it was a full bus. Some man, a guy, decided to berate us. He called us monkeys, ugly, ape, N-word. This is a bus ride. Mind you, this is New Jersey. Okay? And I remember looking at my mom's face, because, if you don't know, I have a temper. I don't condone violence, but don't play with me. I know how to fight. And I'm sitting there boiled up. And in my mind, I'm saying, I wish you would. You want to live? I wish you would. And I'm looking at my mom's face, and she is distraught. She's distraught. She is distraught. And the guy didn't just say it sitting on his seat. He was up in our faces, berating. And my mom was holding my hand saying, no. She would speak to me in French. Don't do it. We don't know if he has a gun. We don't know if he has a knife. Don't do it. Hot breath up my face, calling me an ape. Mind you, he looked like, never mind. Calling me an ape. Disgusting. And everybody there was sitting. Everyone was just having a seat. The bus driver, and it was very loud. The bus driver was just driving. Nobody stood up. Maybe 2 blocks, 2 stops, 2 blocks. My mom, come on, let's take the next bus. And I didn't want to, because I was here inside. I didn't want to. We got up. We got off. We took the next bus. When the next bus arrived and we got on the next bus, my mom just broke down in tears. She was so afraid. She thought it was one of those crazies with a weapon. And she said, no, Alistair, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth losing that one moment in your life. And that's where I got the talk from my mom saying, it only takes one moment. Walk away. Walk away. Now, that's just one of many stories that has happened to me here in America. I'm just saying. So as I'm going through all of this research and I see these nincompoops talking out of their asses, and I'm sitting there like, because you have had no experience, you don't know what it's like. Therefore, you permit yourself to talk stupid and greasy and dumb. That's it. All right, next segment.
I get into those details, I would like to say a few additional words about what happened in Jacksonville yesterday. Florida, the state, and its people condemn the horrific racially motivated murders perpetrated by a deranged scumbag in Jacksonville at the Dollar General store. Perpetrating violence of this kind is unacceptable, and targeting people due to their race has no place in the state of Florida. Casey and I extend condolences to the victims and their families on behalf of the entire state of Florida. I've spoken with Jacksonville Mayor Deegan, Sheriff Waters, and President Faison from Edward Waters College. We will work with Dr. Faison to ensure the college has adequate security, just like we've done when our Jewish day schools have been receiving threats. We're not going to allow in the state of Florida our HBCUs to be targets for hateful lunatics like the guy yesterday.
So look, what did you expect him to say? That he is for this? And this is where, when it comes to politics, your critical thinking brain is your only defense. Okay? When it comes to politics, everybody's going to tell you sweet honey. If you're not able to discern between this and that and this, oh well, your problem. I didn't expect nothing else from them this statement. So it hits, but it doesn't hit because it's expected. To make an impact, you have to go with what is unexpected. That's what makes impacts. The sky is blue. Okay. The sky is blue. Okay. The trees are green. The trees are green. Okay. The sky is violet. What? The tree is charcoal. Huh? That's what makes statements. Okay? So, thank you, Governor. Next. Let's look at this. The moment when he was booed. Because this is also something that I do not like. Let's go. Where is it?
We're going to ask the governor if he would come now and bring remarks.
Well, thank you for doing this. I want to just say to the councilwoman, I got you. Don't worry about it. We've already been looking to identify funds to be able to help, one, make sure there's adequate security for Edward Waters College. We are not going to allow these institutions to be targeted by people.
The booing was unacceptable. And let me tell you something else. And I know this is not my audience. My audience is seasoned and quite smart. So this is for the young ones, whoever happen to look at me, or the ones who are not that smart. The way you get something, if you want something out of someone, booing is the wrong thing to do. Let me tell you what you do. You shut your mouth. My phone battery is dying. I have to hurry up. You shut your mouth. The way you combat, or the way you get to where you need to be, is through here. It's not through posturing. It's not through violence. It really isn't. And it's not through booing. No, that's not how you make a statement, my loves. That's not how you make a statement. No. If anything, booing just diminishes your impact statement. It goes all the way down to the floor. No, not at all, not at all, not at all. Because what is your goal? You have to look at it as, what is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? What's the goal? Because if your goal is to be like, whatever, fine, just go ahead, boo. But if your goal is to get something out of someone, no, my dears, you don't boo. You don't boo. You make a plan. So Ron DeSantis came in with funding. Funding for what? More security for the college campus. Quite frankly, that's not a problem I have. Like, more security, excuse me? No, that is not the issue. The issue, matter of fact, the security did its job. It ran him off. Not really, because it was the students who called for help. Okay, fine, but I'll still take the security. But what I think you should have done there, Mr. DeSantis, and this is also fall into your category of not being in tuned, not understanding. No, you should have maybe, I don't know, make mental health services better. I don't know, make more tracking of lunatics who hold guns better. I don't know, but he's just the governor. I'm telling you, governorship don't have that much power as you might think. The true power is in Congress. Forget the president. Forget the governor. You vote your Congress. But again, you got to know that to do the right thing. So the governor is there for his political image, right? Because he's trying to get something out of it too. All right? He's trying to get your vote, African Americans. He's there not because of your beautiful eyes. He's not there because he likes you. I'm being serious, because if he really did like you, that critical race theory, first of all, critical race theory, they shouldn't have called critical race theory. It should have been critical American history. How's that, right? Because the wording is everything. The wording is everything when it comes to the public. Marketing 101. I can't believe people don't know that stuff. Marketing 101. I could have told you critical race theory. I was like, no, that's going to inflame people. No. Critical American history. That's a little palatable, a little better. It's okay. It's okay. I know I look like a mess. I'm very organized. I know I look like I don't have much together. Honey, my operation is a tight ship. No, they're both at fault here. The governor and people bullying. Now listen to what?
Cause it ain't about parties today.
Okay.
A bullet don't know a party.
Okay.
So don't get me started.
Okay.
Okay, Jacoby is nice, but Ann is not. Now, if the governor wanted to come here and he bringing gifts to my community, y'all know I'm taking the gifts, because we've been through enough already, and I don't want to go through no more. Now, y'all just be quiet just a minute and let the governor say what he gonna say, and we gonna get this party started. You hear me? Okay, let's do it.
So we have already identified funds from the state of Florida. I've been in touch with Dr. Faison. We're going to be announcing some stuff tomorrow morning, which I think will help not only with security, but also an attempt to help these families. The fact of the matter is, you had a major league scumbag come from Clay County up here, and what he did is totally unacceptable in the state of Florida. We are not going to let people be targeted based on their race. We are going to stand up, and we are going to do what we need to do to make sure that evil does not triumph in the state of Florida. And that means we are going to work with Edward Waters so that they have whatever security they need. In Florida, we've already given a lot of money to Jewish day schools because they've been targeted with anti-Semitism. Well, let me tell you this. You are not going to target HBCUs in the state of Florida and get away with it. We're going to hold you accountable. We're not going to let it happen. And we thank what everybody's done, TK, the mayor, and just know that the state of Florida stands with the community. Help is on the way. God bless you all.
All right. Did you relate to that? Some people did. Some people did. I can tell you that the African community did not. And I can see why. There's a lot of disconnect. To go back again to the critical race theory situation, and to go back again to the whole Disney situation. And so when Ron DeSantis is sitting there talking, people are not listening. All they're hearing is his body of work, all of his actions. And there's no connection. And so they can't connect. When you look at his body of work, they cannot connect to what he's saying. Even the mayor was like, look, if he's coming here with gift, I'm taking it. She's only here for your gift, Mr. DeSantis. You're missing the mark. He's missed the mark. Yeah. It's okay.
Well, we have to stop people that have bad intentions. Guns, the story is always about guns. The people are bad. This guy's a bad guy. If I could take my gun off right now and I lay it on this counter, Nothing will happen. It'll sit there. But as soon as a wicked person grabs a hold of that handgun and starts shooting people with it, there's the problem. The problem is the individual.
I agree. So, I've had many conversations, and actually I have to say, Booba, if you're here listening, our conversation was instrumental into my way of thinking when it came to guns. And maybe some of you may not believe it, but our interactions, me and you, my PACT community, of course, it affects me. Yeah, it changed my point of view. Yes, no, yeah, of course. That's why it's important to always communicate. We don't have to agree on everything. It's important to communicate. So I agree with this man. The sheriff is like, look, legally, there is no legal avenues for us to stop him purchasing a gun. So stop with the gun situation. The issue is not the gun. The issue is the person who has the gun. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's hard to argue that. It's true. If you give me a gun, you'd best believe I'm not shooting anybody. No, let alone an intruder. I'd be like, I seen Corey. I mean, look, that's not even funny. My thing here is that people go immediately towards the gun situation. It's because they're looking for a tangible solution, something they can touch, something they can feel and see. It's much more difficult to do that when you deal with the people aspect of it. Because the solution is mental illness in this country. It's abysmal. It's gross. It's disgusting. The level of mental illness is out of control here in the United States of America. It's not taken care of. If you just go across the pond, now that's England, if you just go across the border in Canada, our neighbor, they take care of the mentally ill so well, to the point where they rehab them back to society because you got to pay taxes. That's not free. Their goal is to put you back to work and pay the taxes. It's so much more intricate. In America, it is shit. And again, on the topic of politics, listen, if you really think they care about you, they would give you a better quality of life, my dears. If they really care about you, they would have given you the basics, and they're not doing that. Therefore, they don't give a crap about you. Let's go to my final thought. There's a spectrum to things. And I'm going to pick my words very carefully. The reason why something like this is viscerally reactive for, I'm going to speak in general here, but for minorities. Minorities include blacks, member of LGBTQ+, and you could put women in there. It's because violence towards a minority group, it's not new, it's not rare, and it's not unusual. It's real. During COVID, the Asian violence went up. To give you an example, it's not just the blacks, but I'm telling you why these incidents like that evokes a visceral reaction. Because it's out of fear. Why is it out of fear? It's out of fear because it's just a matter of time before it happens again. And who's next? Who's next? In that same sentence, that's the reason why incidents like these become political. I don't want to die. No. So, I mean, not like that. I don't want to live forever either. Who wants to pay taxes forever? Not me. I'm being an idiot. But it becomes political because the group never got a chance to heal. But how do you heal from a pain like this? Because a pain like this never goes away. Do you know how you heal from a pain like this? It requires generational healing. Because Hold on one second. Because if you think that I'm not going to tell and educate my daughter about what it's like to be black, you must be out your mind. And if you think she is not going to tell her kids what her father has been through, you must be out of your mind. Do you understand how it takes generational healing to move past something like this? It's huge. It's huge because the ripple effect goes beyond what you can imagine. Let's take the families of the people who are dead. They will never let that go. There will always be a sense of insecurity. That's how much pain. That's the power and the destruction of pain. That's why it's so important, and I always say it. Be considerate as much as you can, because that ripple effect is beyond your imagining. It's beyond you. I mean, I'm 38 years old. I say that a lot, yeah, to give you an idea. I've lived on this earth for 38 years. To this day, do you know how I travel? I'll tell you how I travel on vacation. I don't mindlessly travel. No. I don't just go somewhere. No. The first thing I look up is, what's the racial tension? I'll do some research. I don't just go anywhere else. Are you out of your mind? I want to come back home alive. Okay? I look at the research on the LGBTQ plus tolerance. I look up on the racial situation. What am I getting myself into? Oh, come to Timbuktu where the mountains are gray, but we don't like black people. I'm not going there. Oh, come to Shibra where the rivers are gray, but we kill gay people. I'm not going. Do you understand? Now, you have the argument, oh my God, your life is so limited. Right. Because you know what? That's all it takes for you not to come back home. I'm not willing to take that risk. I have too much to lose. If you are that brave, good for you. I'm not that brave. But you know, that aspect of how I travel around the world, it's something Christopher never had to do. And it's one of those things where he's like, oh, I understand. Okay. It's one of those things where him experiencing my life, in my shoes, in my skin, open his eyes. No, he will go to Timbuktu. He will go down under the river, blah, 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 and not think twice. Oh, I have to think. Yeah. Conversations about race, it's something that is essential. It's something that needs to happen. It's something that is extremely uncomfortable. And the reason why it's uncomfortable is because you're dealing with somebody else's perspective of how they go through life. There's no wrong in that. How do you tell someone you're wrong when they're telling you this is how I feel? Right? There's little wiggle room for objections. There's very little room. So how do you have a conversation? How do you have a constant conversation about somebody else's life perspective? Because it's important. And by the way, it goes both ways. In this situation, I'll use black and white, but there's Asians, there's other, all the cultures there. But it goes both ways. Because this lunatic, Ryan Christopher Palmeter, okay? This lunatic was no stranger to a culture of hate. Until people can go through an entire lifetime without feeling threatened for just being themselves, the healing will never happen. And so, sadly, the change won't happen in my lifetime. It won't happen in my daughter's lifetime. It'll probably take 3 to 5 generations for it to happen. Because it will happen. It will happen. Let me give you some facts. The world is getting 40% less religious every 2 or 3 generations. Yeah. I'll tell you something else. Interracial marriages and interracial children are on the rise. Yeah. More and more people are getting to see the other point of view. It's just a matter of time. It's just not this time. You know, but the fight will continue on. The fight will continue. And because the fight is not going away either, right? And yeah. Let's go to my Let's Talk. Okay, so if you got this far, good, that means you like me enough. Perfect. Like, subscribe. Let's Talk is where I take my jacket off and I talk to you a little bit more. I'm sick. Yeah, I think I caught something and it's just making my life 10 times harder. I have a little fever. It's not that high. It's just a little fever. I have a headache. Oh my God. Race talk is very difficult. It's very difficult because it's a sensitive issue. Yeah. There's a lot of pain involved into it. And, you know, very recent pain. I'll tell you a story. I think I've told you this, but I'll say it to you again very quickly. Literally, I have to deal with people. This person ran away from me. As I was walking, literally ran away. Oh no, she was not jogging. It was like, ran away. Oh, you have no idea. This is why it sounds ridiculous to you, right? Unless you're this, you don't know. You will never know what it feels like. Yeah, I'm not minimizing the experience, but I'm just saying, like, we all have an experience. This is the crazy thing, is that it's very common. It still happens today. It still happens today. Now, this year, it still happens. Yeah. That was funny though. Like I burst out laughing. After. Because throughout the day, you know, she was avoiding me. And please, I'm busy. I got bills to pay, okay? So I'm not focused on your stupidity. I got a family to feed. So I'm busy. And at the end, it's like, oh, you actually sound nice. Oh, I remember you. Oh, you ran away. You were running away from me. She goes, I thought you were aggressive. You think I'm kidding? I thought you were aggressive. I'll say it again. I thought you were aggressive. Burst out laughing. But she thought I was aggressive. A big black man, big muscular black man coming towards me. Help me. Yeah. And I was like, okay. Well, you know, it's late. I gotta go. I can't think straight. The pun intended. Yeah, there's a lot of hate in this world. Last weekend, we were going to my brother's son, my nephew's, he went to boarding school last weekend. So they went and dropped him off at boarding school. And we were on our way, but then Olympia did a 104 fever. 104. I was like, no, we're going to do a U-turn straight to the ER. She's fine now, but oh my God, what a weekend. Yeah. I'm tired. But I'm sick, I don't have the energy, so... All I want to do is sleep, but I can't. I can't. And I have a baby, I have kids, and I had a business to run. I can't sleep. Anyway, thank you so much. I see you. Goodbye.